F1 2000 reaches the end of the road. The superb Sepang circuit in Malaysia is the last venue for what has been an absolutely gripping championship. Hello there, good evening. Welcome to our review of this morning's Malaysian Grand Prix. Well, Michael Schumacher has already wrapped up the championship, and now the Ferrari #1 is racing for fun, and the 3 points needed to clinch the team's second consecutive Constructors' crown. True to form, Schumacher peerless in qualifying, with Hakkinen, Coulthard and Barrichello following the new champion. Let's get straight to the Malaysian Grand Prix then with your commentators Martin Brundle and Murray Walker.
So the last Grand Prix of 2000 is in Malaysia, and it is go! Now, good start it looks like from Michael Schumacher, but Mika Hakkinen yet again has got ahead of the Ferrari. Schumacher tried to cut across and failed, and David Coulthard is right up alongside as Alexander Wurz tackles Barrichello, and round the outside of them runs the BAR of Jacques Villeneuve. A terrific start.
I'm pretty sure that Hakkinen moved a long time before the lights came on, but brought the car to a halt, and he may get away with it. I think there's a spinner down in turn 1, but Michael Schumacher having a stab up the inside, and a wheel is off. Whose is that? It's an Arrows and a Sauber.
Yeah, it's an Arrows and a Sauber at the back. Can't spot which one. It's likely to be Mika Salo, I think, and Jos Verstappen. Well, there is De La Rosa in the other Arrows, but meantime, Coulthard has got ahead of Schumacher. McLaren run first and second. Let's have a look.
Yes, Coulthard had a good start, ran right round the outside of Schumacher, tried to come up the inside of him, and there is the carnage into turn 2. An Arrows bouncing around, and at least 3 cars involved in that. The Sauber, the Arrows,
Martin.
And car 1 is under investigation by the steward. That is Mika Hakkinen. He moved way before the lights went out, some kind of problem with the clutch or whatever, but miles away. But the difference is he brought the car to a complete halt. He may get away with it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. David Coulthard didn't get away with it, you remember?
Safety car, Murray, sorry to interrupt. Safety car is deployed. There you see the SC boards for the drivers and the waved yellow flags. Too many wheels and cars hanging around in turn 2 and that zone, and they will have to bring this. They have brought the safety car out.
Mika Hakkinen is leading this race. David Coulthard could potentially try to delay Michael Schumacher, but he'll have to be very careful indeed how he does it.
Now the safety car will come in, his lights are off, look, he will come in the pit lane, and Hakkinen assumes the role of safety car driver, and now Michael Schumacher's got to somehow stay as close to David Coulthard as he can, but he has not done so. Will Hakkinen release Coulthard if he's under a problem with a jump start? So will Hakkinen do that? We'll have to wait and see. But both McLarens away well and over the line. They cannot overtake until they've passed that start-finish line.
So McLaren, Ferrari, Hakkinen, Coulthard, Schumacher, Barrichello, and then as you can see the Benetton and the BAR and Eddie Irvine down in 7th position in the Jaguar, which is exactly where he started. So the race now begins.
And he releases Coulthard. I believe that's Coulthard going through. Yes, Hakkinen releases Coulthard and Michael Schumacher trying to make something of it. Now watch Hakkinen on the right-hand side of the grid. Now this was the start proper. This was not a replay of Hakkinen jumping the start. So look, he got away well. Schumacher tucked in his slipstream, and Coulthard then powering down the outside. And Coulthard will now keep that position all the way around the outside of turn 1. Hakkinen, I think, doing a good job to back Michael Schumacher into the apex early and give his teammate a chance to come up there and help him.
And look at Villeneuve, you see at the start there at the first turn 1. This is a replay, trying to run round the outside. Now look at the conflagration at the back, which is about to happen. You can't see it because now you look at David Coulthard, and the Ferrari has got ahead of Mika Hakkinen, and Barrichello is trying to go through as well, and he's done it. Ferrari runs second and third. I don't know what's happened to Mika Hakkinen. Did he let David Coulthard through deliberately, or has he got some sort of a problem? Because he's now been passed by 3 cars. He was leading, Coulthard passed him, then Schumacher passed him, and now Barrichello's passed him, and he's down to 4th position.
And Wurz having a look as well there into turn 15. Did Wurz get through? No, he did not. Why did Mika Hakkinen lose so many places? It just seems like he just had a bad run out of turn 10, I think that is, and really strange. Hakkinen having a nightmare 2 laps of this race.
Yeah, That was a replay of Barrichello nipping through on the inside of Mika Häkkinen, and you can see how close Alexander Wurz is. Last race in the Benetton. Villeneuve is still in 6th position. Eddie Irvine is in 7th place. Heinz-Harald Frentzen has had a superb run because he's come up from 10th to 8th position. Johnny Herbert is down to 9th place. Jenson Button has absolutely rocketed through the field, as you just heard from Martin. He's gained 6 places. He's up from 16th to 10th, and you can see him in the background there challenging Mika Salo. No, he's past Mika Salo now, and here come the leaders. There's Barrichello, there's Häkkinen, and there is Wurz, followed by Villeneuve. So Mika Häkkinen is severely under pressure. Lost places. Remember, what Ferrari are after is just 3 points to win the Constructors' Championship. At the present moment, they're on 10 points, with Michael Schumacher in 2nd place and Rubens Barrichello in 3rd position. Long way to go, though.
Joel, just to finish Häkkinen's afternoon off, he has been given a stop-go penalty.
Into the pits comes Mika Häkkinen for his penalty. Through goes Wurz, Villeneuve. Eddie Irvine goes through. Still Mika Häkkinen is yet to stop. Zonta has gone through. Johnny Herbert and Mika Salo. Now, watch this, because when Mika Häkkinen rejoins, he's going to be virtually last. De La Rosa, he is last in already. Down goes the fuel, and he really smokes out of the pit lane.
Coulthard absolutely flying. It took 1.2 seconds out of Michael Schumacher to extend his lead to 5.3 now, and a very, very good scrap shaping up between Wurz, Villeneuve, Irvine and Zonta for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th as the race unfolds. And that's a quick lap from Coulthard. This morning's warm-up, they were in the very low 1:40s as a good time. So as a race pace, that is pretty stunning. Coulthard in the pits very, very early on. I wonder if this is a strategy change then for McLaren. That is extremely early. James?
Yeah, it's a bit early for a strategy change. Funny enough, I was just working on this, thinking that if you put about 90 kilos of fuel in, no, it's not. It's a very short fuel. I'm going to work on this, try and figure out what they're doing, but very, very odd.
Jenson Button's gone missing somewhere, and he's outside our window in a cloud of smoke. Jenson Button out of the car, out of the race.
Mika Häkkinen running wide, having a look at the Benetton as they come down the Penang Straight. Now, this is where the superior power of the Mercedes-Benz engine will pay off, and has paid off. And Häkkinen surges through. He's now in the top 10. The next target is Eddie Irvine, and he's about 8 seconds down the road. In comes Michael Schumacher. Hits the pit lane speed limiter. His Ferrari mechanics are ready for him. Now, Rubens Barrichello goes through into the lead.
And looks a straightforward enough stop there for Michael Schumacher. Let's count the seconds. Look, not that much fuel, James. I'm sure James will be furiously calculating that down there. It seems to me like they may have brought Schumacher onto a 2-stopper. James?
Yeah, a bit of a switch, I think, from Ross Brawn. They've put Michael onto a 2-stopper. The danger was Coulthard. He was about 30 seconds behind Schumacher just before he made that stop. But you can see as he rejoins, Michael's only just in front of him. If they'd taken more fuel on, like a 1-stop fuel load, it would have put Michael behind. It would have been messy for the Ferrari team. It seems slightly unusual. It has to do with tyre wear, I'm sure.
As Rubens Barrichello accelerates away 7 seconds, so that's about 84, 85 litres of fuel. There goes his team leader, and David Coulthard coming through. So David Coulthard gets out before Barrichello joins the track. David Coulthard goes through, and it looked to me as though the Jordan got ahead of Barrichello as well.
So it's a straightforward 1-2-3 then. Michael Schumacher 4.2 seconds ahead of David Coulthard, and Barrichello a little way down the road.
The world champion of 1997 for Williams, Canada's Jacques Villeneuve, battling the world champion of 1998 and 99, Mika Häkkinen from Finland in the McLaren. And they're certainly making a go of it. And Mika Häkkinen is going to have to work very, very hard, either to get past Jacques Villeneuve or to harry the man enough to make a mistake. I can't see Jacques Villeneuve doing that. He's through goes! Or does he? They're absolutely side by side. Mika Häkkinen makes a tremendous attack. Jacques Villeneuve moves across on him. And it's coming down to the very, very slow left-hander at the end of the lap. Second gear, 65 miles an hour. Villeneuve should do it. He's got the inside line. He's holding it.
But he's gone wide. He locked his inside left, and Villeneuve outbraked himself. Busy watching Häkkinen, and really, Häkkinen frightened his way past Villeneuve. And you don't do that too easily to Jacques Villeneuve. Forced him offline and forced him into a mistake, and a great move there for Häkkinen that could well see him up to 4th place in this race.
Yeah, wake up on the left there. This is a terrific race going on, because Alexander Wurz is now closing on Jacques Villeneuve as a result of the Canadian running wide. Wurz in 6th position. This is a replay of the battle between Häkkinen and Villeneuve, where you see Mika Häkkinen retake that position.
Remember, he is low on fuel though. He has not yet stopped, so he must be imminent for a fuel stop anytime soon. He's running more fuel than the others. Nonetheless, stunning race speed.
Yeah, I think he would probably rejoin in 8th or 9th position at the present if things continue the way they are at the moment. As the race leader, Michael Schumacher, comes down the reverse straight, the Penang straight, down to turn 15 at 65 mile an hour, second gear, left-hander. David Coulthard, the gap was down to 2.3 seconds on the previous lap, because Schumacher, the race leader, is just coming through to complete his 35th lap out of 56, looking for yet another victory, which would be his 9th of the year. And I think the previous highest was Nigel Mansell in 1992, when he was world champion for Williams, who then had the Renault engine. And Schumacher is on his 36th lap now. The gap between himself and Coulthard, 2.3 seconds. And Mika Häkkinen is in the pit lane. He's just touring past me as I talk to you. There are the mechanics all ready to go. And Häkkinen stops now. What about Barrichello is through, of course. Villeneuve has gone through. Wurz will be the next one. And Alexander Wurz goes through. Neddy Irvine will be the next one. So, sure enough, Mika Häkkinen is going to rejoin in 8th or 9th place. There is Irvine going through in the Jaguar. Behind him will be Ricardo Zonta. There is the white BAR, which was in 8th position, but Häkkinen gets through onto the track in front of Zonta, and that is Marc Genet up alongside the pit wall in the second Minardi.
I think I can see also the McLaren mechanics then out in the pit lane.
Yeah.
Must be for David Coulthard. You're watching Zonta's second stop. He's pitted from 7th place. So McLaren getting ready to bring Coulthard in. These last pit stops should take them about 6 to 7 seconds, really. A crucial one. Coulthard having got the gap, and Coulthard is in the pit lane. Yes, he is. You can see him now, and the gap was down to 1.9 seconds on the previous lap, and McLaren really need to turn that car around.
And while you're watching this pit stop, I'll tell you that there is no Benetton in the top 6. Villeneuve is 4th. So he's on 3 World Championship points. If he can stay there and Benetton do not get a car in the top 6, BAR will move up to 4th position in the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, Villeneuve's got to stop again, yeah, Mary. I don't think he's got a prayer of 4th place today. If both McLarens and both Ferraris keep running, they're all squabbling for 5th and 6th places, the rest of them, because Häkkinen's stunning speed in the middle part of this race has enabled him to bring himself up into contention, and he's got a look at the back of Barrichello, I would say, for that final podium position, and Villeneuve pits straight away.
With Eddie Irvine presumably still to come in for a second stop, moving up into 4th position as the French-Canadian stops the BAR Honda. The mechanics reach into the side pods to remove debris. Out he goes, 7 seconds. And Villeneuve will rejoin, I think, in 7th or 8th position. He's back on the track into the slow turn 1. Lap 39, Schumacher leading. Coulthard's been in and out.
And this then is Michael Schumacher lapping, I believe, Johnny Herbert. So
yeah.
Herbert then, and he goes straight in the pit lane. So Schumacher pitting straight away after Coulthard stop. James, are you there?
Yeah, once again, a tiny bit earlier than we expected, and it's in reaction to an extremely good pit stop by the McLaren team. Michael Schumacher comes in. Now that Coulthard is still a danger to Schumacher in this race. They need to turn this car around very quickly. It's a beautiful stop by the Ferrari team. Schumacher now chasing his 9th victory of the year. The only time he's ever done that was back in '95, of course.
So 0.7 of a second faster then than David Coulthard's stop, and I believe that will give Michael Schumacher the lead. Coulthard passes our commentary box. He will not be ahead of Michael Schumacher. If he wants to win this race, been a great drive from Coulthard. He's kept Schumacher more than honest, but now he's going to have to pass him to win the Grand Prix. He did manage to pass him here last year in that famous Turn 2 clash, but that was a big risk. And Michael Schumacher now appearing to be well in control of this Grand Prix. Barrichello in the pit lane then. He'll be looking for the line down to 80 kilometers per hour. And even that, I've stood in front of these people while they're doing practice stops in the warm-up, and it still looks terrifying standing just in front of a Formula 1 car coming towards you at 50 miles an hour. And they have to stop on the marks, and it's another low. No, there's a problem there for Barrichello. That's a slow stop, did not get it into first gear, had no confidence to get away, and that gives Häkkinen an even better chance to have a run at Barrichello. James.
Well, it didn't get it into gear, simple as that. The car was sitting there. I think Rubens was caught by surprise. Couldn't quite see whether the lollipop man, who normally is supposed to instruct him when to put the first gear in, whether he did that job or not. But Rubens, I think, was just half asleep. It must be really, really hot out there, guys.
And who's that off?
That's a big one.
That's a Jaguar. That's a Jaguar off into the barrier, and it looked...
well, the steering wheel is out, so it's Johnny Herbert. Johnny Herbert, and he's thrown the steering wheel out. That is definitely the Englishman. What an awful way to finish his last Grand Prix in Formula 1. But thank heavens he looks perfectly all right. Very bad damage to the car. Here's what happened as Johnny Herbert... Look.
Oh, that's a rare suspension failure. And Johnny, absolutely nothing he can do is hit the brake pedal, and the rear wishbones have given way and just pitched him into the tyre barrier. And a really nasty incident there for Johnny Herbert.
Final lap 56 in Malaysia. Now, David Coulthard will never give up. Of that you can be absolutely sure. There is a contingent of people from his hometown, Twynham in Scotland, here to watch this race. They could hardly have hoped to watch a better one from their point of view, except, of course, seeing David Coulthard somehow scramble past Michael Schumacher to win the Malaysian Grand Prix. It is looking less and less likely, because Schumacher's just got a few corners to go now between himself and that historic victory, which is surely going to be his after an absolutely magnificent year for Ferrari. It will be 9 wins for Schumacher, 1 win for Barrichello, 10 wins in all. The Drivers' World Championship for the 3rd time for Schumacher. The Constructors' World Championship again for Ferrari, and he is almost home. The Ferrari flags, as everywhere, are waving as Michael Schumacher enters the last corner of the last lap to win the last Grand Prix of the year 2000 in glorious style for himself and Ferrari. Schumacher wins in Malaysia. He has won 4 races on the trot now, to add to the other 5 races that he had previously won this year. In the background you see Rubens Barrichello making it a glorious 1st and 3rd for Maranello for Ferrari to give them the World Constructors' Championship.
We had a great race. 4 times pole position at the end of the season, 4 wins. That's simply superb, and a dream coming true. So we're obviously very delighted.
We've had some differences, and I'm embarrassed that sometimes I was maybe saying things too publicly and not going to talk to him face to face. And it was just really we're at the end of the season, to apologise for that and to say he's a great champion, and I look forward to competing against him next season.
I'm very happy. He came to me after the race to talk to me about what has happened in the past and the way he sees things. And obviously I feel that shows how good a bloke he is, and I look forward to continue to have as good a relationship as we used to have some while ago.
And so confirmation of Schumacher's victory in Malaysia. Coulthard 2nd, Barrichello 3rd, Häkkinen 4th, Villeneuve 5th for BAR, and Eddie Irvine scoring a rare point for Jaguar. Final positions in the Drivers' Championship. Schumacher winning the title by a huge 19-point margin. Häkkinen 16 clear of Coulthard. Barrichello fourth. Then way back on 24, Ralf Schumacher in the Williams. And Fisichella, you know, he hasn't scored since Canada in the middle of June. Decisive victory for Ferrari as well. And Benetton getting that fourth place thanks to Fisichella finishing second at Interlagos in Brazil. OK then, Tony, it wasn't going to be McLaren's day from the moment that Häkkinen fluffed the start.
Well, from the time that the engine went in Indianapolis, really, it's gone downhill from there. But this was like Indianapolis as well, because, you know, Häkkinen had fluffed the start. He managed to stop the car again, but that was picked up by the little sensor and he got a penalty. But Coulthard, look at him going round the outside. He was brave, he was committed, and for me, he was the driver of the race. And then he got past Häkkinen and got into the lead. And, you know, eventually second place. That's good for him at the end of the year.
It's farewell to Johnny Herbert. He has a bruised leg, nothing worse than that, and I would think Johnny would be very, very grateful about that.
Yeah, and it's difficult to know what happened, Jim, but you can see the rear end disintegrating as the wheel parts company, and this is a big impact, a very high-speed accident. And the car, look, buckarooing there and almost going over, but coming around. And you can see how the tyres there all absorb the impact. But you can imagine if that's the concrete walls of Indianapolis. As it was, his leg took a big knock. Those legs have been smashed and been rebuilt. I don't think, as I said at the beginning of the programme, that he should go to Indianapolis.
Would you want him to call it a day virtually there?
No, I want him to stay in Grand Prix racing or sports car racing where it is much safer. There have been fatalities in IndyCar racing. Formula One is much, much safer, and so is sports car racing.
Finish by paying tribute to the fellow in the red wig, Michael Schumacher.
Well, it looked like they'd all gotten rusty in the rain or something. Instead of a whitewash, it's a red wash. I think they're trying to say Ferrari dominance, and why not? They've done the double, world constructors and the world drivers as well. Fair play to them. They worked hard, they wanted it. It's brilliant for the sport, brilliant for Ferrari.
Tony, thanks for your company throughout the season. Righto, that does complete the Formula One season. Watch out for a Christmas special, won't you, here on ITV. And the F1 ITV team will take a little winter break, and we will be back in Melbourne next March. Till then, good night to you all.
If you would like to know more about Formula One,